I could spend hours looking for the perfect snare sample. The tone, the length, the punch, and even if one of those seems perfect, it often falls short in the mix. The whole internet says that layering is how you get great snares, and while it is true, it can be quite time-consuming. So I came up with this simple trick that saves me lots of time, works across various genres, and doesn't require any external plugin. And that's layering a simple FM tone, which gives snares more body and also character, and the best part is that all it takes is tweaking these two knobs. I'm gonna show you how to set this up in less than a minute and how to use it properly. However, this will not fix a poorly mixed track. So if you feel like nothing else is working for you, I have an extra tip at the end of this video, which might be exactly what you've been looking for. Okay, so let's see how do you set this up. Here I have just my snare. By the way, my sample pack crunch kit will be out very soon. What we're gonna do is group that, Ctrl G to group. We're going to go to our chains, create a new chain. I'm going to my instruments, take an operator instance, and here I'm gonna work with the first two operators. So first of all, we're going to turn on fixed frequency. This way we can tune this up at our liking. Let's bring the decay of the first operator down. Something between 200 and 300, 400 milliseconds will be great. Turn down the release maybe to 200 as well. And now we have this. Just a simple tone. Let's bring up the level of the second operator. Put this down. So you see how it creates that wooden texture. Let's enable pitch envelope, bring the decay down to 20, 30 milliseconds so it gets a little bit snappier. And now basically this is set up. Let's hear it together with the snare. This is without, this is with. And now using these two frequency knobs, we can tune the drum. The level of the second operator will give us that initial snap. Before, after. And that is it. Now let's see how could you use this in a real track. This is a jingle I'm working on. It's for a company that sells oranges. Let's have a look at this snare. This is again one of my snares. So I'm making some transient shaper, some compression, the free clip for clipping, and then I just have a rack with just Evalala room. Sounds very nice. But right here I have my operator. It's very woody and it sits in the low mids. This is the envelope for the first operator. This is the envelope for the second operator. And let's have a listen to the mix without and then with this operator. It gives so much punch to it, so much body, so much character as well. And you might think that it's because of the volume difference, right? Because we add in other sounds, so it might be louder. But I'm clipping this sound, so it doesn't really matter. It's 0.68. And if I add the operator, not that much. I mean, it's a third of a decibel. The next example is a little bit more subtle. This is a track I composed for Lumen. It is a Sicilian singer living in Milan. And here I actually have a clap and a snare. And I high pass this on purpose so I can bring up my own body of the snare. I can also tune it to the song. And this is very important. You have to tune your drums. You already might know that the kick has to be in tune with the song, but nobody really talks about the snares in tune. We don't think about a real live drummer anymore these days. I remember I've been in a band and my drummer was just, guys, I'm sorry, I have to tune my snare. I'm really sorry, it's out of tune. I wasn't really hearing it, but that guy was all about it. And he was stopping our rehearsal for a good 10-15 minutes using this butterfly wrench, just knocking on those screws right there. I don't know if you know how a snare works, but basically it has different screws that hold the skin of the snare. And if you screw more or less, it will be more loose or more tightened up. And this will change the pitch or the tuning of the snare. And you can stay there and just screwing for 10-15 minutes until you get the right tone. And having this operator basically does the same thing. It's such a subtle difference, but it is there. And as I told you, I have an extra tip for you. If you feel like nothing is really working for your snares and in the mix they don't sit right and they don't hit right, don't hit enough, probably is because of the volume. It hits right, it's a great snare, but if I play it in the mix, let's have a listen. It's just not right there. And this is the biggest tip I can give you. You have to have your snare the loudest element in your mix. This might be mind-blowing for somebody, but your snare and the kick might be the loudest elements in your mix. As you can see, the only two elements that hit really hard my limiter are the snare and the kick. And listen, take my word with a little bit of salt. Let's have a look at some big hits in the market. This is Daft Punk, the fathers, the goats of the electronic music. Look at this waveform. This is the snare, kick and snare. Kick, snare. The loudest thing in their mix. Bruno Mars, 24 Karat Magic India. Kick, snare, the loudest thing in the mix, the staple of the trap. This is the kick and this is the 808 and this is the snare and then the 808. The 808 isn't louder than kick or snare. And that's all I have for you today. And hey, if this was valuable for you in any way, you might know how the algorithm on YouTube works, so I'm gonna have to ask you to comment down below anything you want. Tell me what country you're from. Tell me if you've been struggling with your snares as well. Let me know what else do you want to see on this channel, and this will really help me to grow so I can go full-time on music production and helping you guys sound design and mix harder, better, faster, stronger. Thank you for all, and I see you next time. Ciao.